everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to another recommendation video, and this one is an oddly specific recommendation video with role plays included. So this is one of those videos I do where this was one that was suggested in my video request form. So I'm happy to be doing this one today, but that also means that some of these recommendations, I really had to dig down for these. I actually even had to ask on my Instagram if some people knew some of these, because I knew that I'd read more, but it's not like a tag that really like sticks out to me. So I had read, I believe I have 9 recommendations for this one. I have a good amount, but some of them I don't remember as clearly as before, and I got the reminder from some of my friends. So keep that in mind when we do these. I will have all the books linked down below, so you can buy them for yourself if you're interested. But let's go ahead and get started with these. And we're actually going to start with Melanie Harlo, who apparently really likes to write roleplay, because I have 3 different books from her, all from different ones of her series, I think. Or is this one from... This one might be from the same series as it. I'm not sure. But anyway, there are quite a few from her. So one of them involves Insatiable, which is part of the Cloverleaf Farm series. And this one is a Friends to Lovers. It's a Noah and I can't remember which heroine this is, Meg. And he is a small town sheriff, and she, you know, of course, is part of the town, is part of the Cloverleaf town. And he's 34 years old, and he's a very protective friend of hers, and they decide to have kind of a friends with benefits relationship. And one of their interactions involves him pulling out his handcuffs and pretending he's arresting her, and they actually do a little like dub-con scenario, which I remember this one because I was shocked that Melanie had like put this in a book. I'd only just started reading her books, and I couldn't believe like how naughty it was that he like pretends to arrest her and then like takes things too far. So there's a little bit of role playing with some handcuffs that happens in Insatiable. So this one was very cute. And her older books were a lot like quicker reads too, for sure. Then from her, there is also Drive Me Wild, and this one involves, this was when her, Melanie was going through her Schitt's Creek phase, and so there was a series that she did that is like, what's it called, like, tangentially connected with Cloverleaf Farms, and our heroine is a rich girl who like runs away on her wedding day and ends up like her car breaks down and she has to spend the night at the mechanic's house, who I think his name is Griffin, and they end up at one point, she ends up becoming like a shop assistant for him to, you know, to like earn money to pay for her car, and then she ends up falling for the town, and of course she ends up like staying there and everything. But they at one point do a role play when she's staying with him, and I remember it's like her pretending she needs to pay for her car using other means. So that one was very sexy. And then there is also Make Me Yours by Melanie Harlo. And this one is a brother's best friend, single dad next door. I think there's an age gap. This one's also an Officer Cole Mitchell. And guess what? This one also involves handcuffs and role plays with that. So obviously Melanie has a kink that she enjoys, but I'm here for it because I also like this kink. So if you love Melanie Harlo, those are some books maybe you want to revisit or you haven't visited before that have some slight role plays in them. Now we'll take quite a turn here, and I will share with you one that I really loved, which is Games with the Orc by Katherine Moon. Yes, this is the beautiful renegade romance cover of it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. This one is this woman who basically hires an orc for a week to live out all her sexual fantasies that she hasn't been able to do because her previous boyfriend was too vanilla and too scared to try out some of the sexy things. So she hires, let's see, Sunny hires Kellar, So he's a master of his work with the Monster Smash agency, and so satisfying his clients with his perfect expertise. So he guides the experience. So whatever she's like wanting, he can do. And because he's going to be with her for a week, she doesn't really want to know step by step the plans. They like talk about their limits. They talk about what she likes. She has a safe word. And then it's kind of up to Kellar to like lead them through all these different scenarios that she wants to act out. Some which involve kidnapping and dubious consent, or CNC, not dubious. She is fully consenting, but consensual non-consent scenes, ones where he makes her his slave for the day, like all these different things. So this one is literally a whole book of all the role plays that we do. Things just get a little bit serious when Kellar, who is a professional sex worker, discovers that this woman he's fucking as a job is his mate. And that's going to make his work going forward very difficult. So they get into an interesting scenario. But I really, really, really loved this one. It's probably one of my favorite Katherine Moon, so I highly recommend. Okay, then we have Brutal Vows by J.T. Geisinger. So this one, I remember the role play just like shocked me so much because I wasn't expecting it. So I wouldn't necessarily call Spider like submissive, but he really likes praise, and he also doesn't mind like switching roles really with his heroine. So there is some of that. Like he very much likes to know that he's pleasing his woman. So there are some hot scenes in this where he is like sharing with her how happy he is to be pleasing her, or she shares how pleased she is by him. And I love that stuff, you guys. I just love that shit so much. It makes me so happy. It's beautiful. But there is a scene in this when they are together where he has found some of her like books, and he knows she likes some of these like smutty romances, and so they act out kind of a scene from one where he pretends to be a gladiator who she needs his seed. And it's hot, okay? Like JT writes it and it's hot. So I'm just telling you, it's there, okay? It's there for you when you need that story. It's there, okay? Okay. All right, then there is also Minks by Sophie Lark. Maybe you know what some of the role play in this one is going to be. Although I would call it, I mean, it's pet play that we do in here. But the way that it's done in this story, it really feels more like a role play. And what's beautiful in this one too is that the vulnerability that happens in their sexual play is powerful. Okay, I love this book. This was a 6-star read from this year. I loved it so much. But it is very intense. It's very intense. And I think it's something that I wasn't expecting it to be so powerful. I don't know why, because Sophie writes very powerful sex scenes. Like, she definitely does. But the way that these two, through their sexual games, become so vulnerable with each other, and especially through the pet play that happens in here, both when she is the submissive pet and during a scene when Ramses becomes her pet for a scene as well. It was beautiful, okay? It really, really was, because the heroine, is taking a chance, like, to show him why she loves being his pet, like when she loves being Minks, when she likes doing that, to show him, like, why it's so freeing to her. And I think it's done so well. And gosh, it's fantastic to have that like switch up in a story. So highly recommend. So this is one that I had to have someone remind me of. Like I said, I needed to ask for help for some of these. So I don't remember the exact scene that was mentioned. I just want to say that. But when I do these videos, like I said, sometimes I need to ask for some help. And I think I remember the scenario, but I'm not 100% because it's been a while since I read this book. But there is Mafia Darling, which is book 2 in The Kings of Italy. And someone told me that for their honeymoon scene, there's a role play in here. I love this series, I really do. Though for me, Mafia Mistress is a pretty weak book to me. I don't love the characters in it, but I think that Mila Finelli was really being very brave to do that, to start off with like someone like, look, I don't really love either one of them that much because they have such an arc that they go through in the second story, which is this one. So again, don't 100% take my word on this, but this was reminded to me that this one has it, and I don't have time to reread it just for a video like this. So if this one doesn't have it, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure it is. I trust the word of the people for sure. Okay, and then we have just a few more here. So there is The Tease by Lauren Blakely. This was the third book in the Virgin Society trilogy, and I really like this trilogy. And this one actually like begins with role play, and they do it multiple times because it's something the heroine really likes, and she's been shamed by a previous boyfriend for wanting, so she's very much hidden those desires from herself. But because this is a Virgin Society, like she is a virgin, it was her and her friends are all virgins at the beginning of this series, and she ends up meeting a guy at a club that she's actually playing piano for. And she meets a guy at a club that during her break, they like sneak away and have a moment. And then they discover that he is her dad's best friend and work colleague. And so nothing can happen between them. But their chemistry is so great. They've never felt this before. They both understand each other's kinks and they love it. So they agree to still have a one-night stand when they fully know who the other person is and just hope that it will be enough. So I really like this. I liked it as well because he is into some kink, but with her, he wants to be clear that like he doesn't have like a big like dominating kink. He has like he wants to be a caretaker. He also is a pleasure dom, so he wants to pleasure the shit out of her. And if she's willing to give him the control for that, he promises to be like wise with it. And I love that kind of stuff. I really, really do. So I enjoyed this couple so much. And I loved how it played out because it was really sweet. And the dad's best friend element of this played out really good as well. So I really like that one. Then we have another that I read this one a long time ago, and so it took someone reminding me about it to remember. But this was Follow by Tessa Bailey. So when she was still writing mostly indie romance, which now I think pretty much all of her books are traditionally published at this point, which go Tessa Bailey. Let's say it. Go Tessa Bailey. Way to go. But this one involves a road trip, and they do some different role plays together on this. I do remember that. I don't remember any of them super specifically, but I also know that there's a lot of like, there's death of a parent in this one. There's kidnapping and blackmail, so be prepared for that. And also like, yeah. And there's other, I don't want to like spoil anything, but role play also happens. So there's that for sure. So enjoy that. And then this one also had to be reminded to me, but then I remembered it because I read this one not too long ago, so it kind of shook my memory of it again. But there is Any Duchess Will Do by Tessa Dare, and this one is a part of the Spindle Cove series. And this one involves our hero is being like pressured to get married by his mother. She is pressuring him hard. And he's just like, Mom, you ain't gonna force me into this. But she's trying her hardest to force him into it and gives him a thing of like, pick a woman in this room that I can turn into a duchess. So he ends up picking the serving girl. She agrees to come with him for only, I think, like a week. I remember when I reread it, I was like, you're seriously only going to come with him for a week? I don't know. So this whole love story like takes place within a week, which I'm like, we won't overthink it because it's Tessa Dare and we love her. But when things start to get sexual between them, there is a role play scene in this one. There's also some spanking that happens. So like, go Tessa Dare. We love to see it. So there you go. There is a historical in there for you too. I also believe that some of the books in the Season of Spies series, I'll show one of them, by Golden Angel, have some role plays in them as well. But I don't know like the specific ones of it. So anyway, for this one, if you have other romances that you would like to recommend, these are the type of videos where we want all the recommendations we can get down below, so that when people find this video, not only will they have the recommendations that I'm giving, but they can look in the comments and see more. You'll also see in the description a link to all the books that I'm mentioning in this if you want to snag it on Amazon. It does help the channel a little bit if you use those links. But yeah, otherwise, just making sure that you like this video, send it to some friends if you think they need some oddly specific recs like this. I also have an entire playlist of all my oddly specific recs, my dark romance recs, historical romance recs, and one massive playlist that has every recommendation video I've ever done. So definitely the fun does not stop here, so check those out. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.